Another good example of Romanticism in painting is at the top of page 99, figure 15.4, The Death of Sardanapalus by the French Romantic painter Delacroix, or Delacroix, if you're trying to pretend like you can speak French. Delacroix's Death of Sardanapalus. As usual, first the story here. Sardanapalus is the figure up at the top of the painting, the figure in the white robe laying on the bed here. Sardanapalus is the king of a city in ancient Mesopotamia, a city in the ancient Middle East. And Sardanapalus goes to war with another city. So Sardanapalus gathers his army, sends them off to the battlefield where they're defeated. And the messenger comes running back to Sardanapalus with the news that your army has been defeated and your enemy is marching on your city to take all of your stuff. Well, Sardanapalus doesn't want his enemy to get his stuff, so he orders his stuff to be destroyed. Back here you see a servant bringing in some golden vessels, a chalice, and a jar of some kind, a vase maybe. You see down here some golden vessels and jewelry piled up in a pile. That's going to be beaten with a hammer. It won't destroy the value of the gold, of course, but it'll destroy the value of the finished product. He doesn't want his enemy to get his stuff, so he orders his stuff to be destroyed. His horses are his stuff, so he orders his stuff to be executed, his horses to be killed, slaughtered. You see that going on over here. And of course, his wives are his stuff too. He doesn't want his enemy to get his stuff, so he has his wives killed. You see that going on, of course, in the painting. Meanwhile, he sits up there all detached from the scene. You may notice, if you look carefully over in this part of the painting, that Sardanapalus has ordered his castle, or his palace, to be set on fire. You may be able to make out smoke billowing into the room over here. And in just a few minutes, Sardanapalus himself is going to commit suicide to avoid the dishonor of having to surrender to his enemy. Well, we can see the characteristics of Romanticism here. We've got the pain and suffering, and at least three different types of pain here, three different types of suffering. We're drawn immediately, of course, to the suffering of the women, but there's also the suffering of the horses here. How do animals experience pain and suffering? I don't know. I don't know if any human being understands, but certainly we see the fear in the horse's eyes there. And then we have the suffering of Sardanapalus as well. Even though we don't really feel that sorry for him, he's lost everything as he sits up there, completely having alienated himself from the situation. Another image of depression as he's completely isolated himself with no empathy at all for anything going on in the scene. And then you have kind of a genetic political message about the arrogance of power, how oftentimes leaders make decisions without thinking about the effects of those decisions on other people, only looking out for their own interests or their own advantage or whatever. In this case, the advantage of avoiding dishonor, avoiding his enemy getting his stuff. Also here we have that minor characteristic I gave you earlier, an interest in the exotic. We have a story that comes out of a place that's not in Western culture, the ancient Middle East. The horse's tack and the costuming, the weapons, the elephant head, bedpost. The story itself comes out of Western culture. And there we see that interest in the exotic.